I'm Max Verstappen.
Oh, Max Verstappen! Can he keep it out of the barriers?
I'm from Holland and I live in Monaco. I'm the best driver because I believe that I'm the best.
Brazil 2016, a 19-year-old kid sits in 16th position on the grid. Rain is falling. The entire Formula One establishment expects him to learn his place. Then, in 71 laps, Max Verstappen goes from 16th to 3rd in the conditions that destroyed veterans twice his age. Spain of 2016, that made people notice him. Brazil of 2016 made them all believe in him. And guys, this is the story of the drive that turned a teenage prodigy into F1's most feared racer before he even turned 20 years old. The gamble. May 2016, Red Bull Racing made the most controversial decision in modern F1. They promoted 18-year-old Max Verstappen from Toro Rosso mid-season. The paddock called it reckless. He was too young, he was too inexperienced, he was too risky for a team fighting at the front. Then Barcelona happened, his first race in Red Bull colors, and Max won, the youngest race winner in F1 history. But critics said that it was strategy, lucky timing with Mercedes colliding, a fluke that proved nothing about his real ability behind the steering wheel. They said that people should wait until the pressure really comes. Wait until experience matters more than raw speed. Then, 6 months after Spain, Max arrived carrying the weight of doubt on his shoulders. What happened next would silence every critic forever. The setup for chaos. Qualifying was a nightmare. Max struggled in changing conditions. Red flags disrupted his rhythm, and he couldn't string together a clean lap. P16 buried in the midfield, surrounded by cars that he should have been beating. Then came the penalty, a gearbox change violation, 5-place grid drop, and he was already 16th, so the numbers didn't change. But the message was clear: Max Verstappen would start this race from the back of the competition order. In dry conditions, that meant damage control. You fight for points, you take your medicine, you don't challenge for podiums. But Sunday morning arrived with darkness. Clouds rolled in across Sao Paulo like a threat. The rain started falling, then it began intensifying. Then it became biblical. Visibility dropped to almost nothing. Standing water covered entire corners, and the track itself transformed into basically a river. This is the kind of weather where surviving without crashing is a victory enough, where even world champions second-guess every input, where one mistake ends your race instantly. As the field lined up on the grid, veterans with years of wet weather experience prepared for survival. But Max Verstappen, well, he prepared for attack. The hunt. Lap 1, the lights went out while others tiptoed into turn 1. Max, well, he attacked. He braked later than anyone else. His throttle control was surgical. No wheel spin, no hesitation, just pure racing instinct. And by the end of lap 1, he'd already passed 4 cars. The commentators noticed immediately. This wasn't caution, this was a predator who'd found his element. Then lap 5, P12, around him experienced drivers were making mistakes, locking wheels, running wide, fighting cars that wouldn't respond. Max was reading the track like he'd driven it 1,000 times. He found grip where others saw danger. His racing line, it evolved corner by corner as conditions shifted. Lap 10, the safety car came out, the field bunched up, and when racing resumed, Max attacked again. Nico Hülkenberg fell behind him. Sergio Perez, well, couldn't hold him off. Valtteri Bottas was gone. One by one, drivers who should have beaten the teenager in the wet conditions, they were all being destroyed. Into lap 20, P7, the rain kept falling, but Max's pace kept rising. His tire management was perfection. Where others struggled to keep temperature in their intermediates, Max controlled everything lap by lap. Every input was calculated. This wasn't aggression, this was what we call artistry. Lap 30, he passed Kimi Raikkonen, a former world champion with years of wet weather experience, and he had no answers. The overtake was clean, it was decisive, and it was definitely unstoppable. Lap 43, the moment that defined everything. Max drove down the inside of Daniel Ricciardo, his own teammate. Ricciardo was brilliant in wet conditions. He was experienced and he was fighting for the same result. But Max was operating in a different dimension. Third place, a podium from 16th on the grid in a monsoon at 19 years old. When Max crossed the finish line in P3, the Formula One world realized they'd just witnessed something that changed everything. The statement. 16th to 3rd in Brazil in the rain. The statistics were remarkable. 13 overtakes, 0 mistakes, flawless tire management in conditions that destroyed half the grid. But the numbers don't capture what actually happened. This wasn't just a good result, this was a 19-year-old kid beating veterans who'd been racing in Formula One since before he was born. Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg were fighting for the championship at the front. Sebastian Vettel brought decades of experience. Kimi was a wet weather master. Daniel Ricciardo was Max's teammate. He was older, he was wiser, and he was more experienced. But Max, well, he beat them all. The paddock reaction said everything. Christian Horner called it one of the best drives he'd ever seen from such a young driver. Helmut Marko compared it to Ayrton Senna's legendary wet weather performances. Even rivals had to acknowledge what they'd just witnessed. This wasn't a fluke. Spain 2016 made people notice. Brazil 2016 made them believe in him. The drive that announced Max's arrival was just the beginning of a story that would reshape F1 forever. Now guys, if you're fascinated by the defining moments that separate good drivers from legends, make sure to subscribe. We break down the races, the psychology, and the performances that change motorsport history. Hit that bell so that you never miss any of our deep dives, any of our stories. But right now guys, let's get back to the video. The foundation. Here's what makes Brazil 2016 so significant. This wasn't Max Verstappen at his peak. This was Max at 19 years old, still learning, still developing, still figuring out the boundaries of what was possible. He was 6 months into his Red Bull career. He hadn't won a championship, he hadn't dominated a season, he hadn't become the ruthless winning machine that would define the 2020s. Brazil 2016 was the foundation for everything that came after. The confidence Max showed in that race, the tire management, the racecraft, the ability to stay calm while chaos erupted around him, it became the blueprint for his entire career. When Max won Brazil 2024 from 17th position, the world called it the greatest wet weather drive in F1 history. And they were right. But that drive doesn't happen without what happened in 2016. The mental strength, the understanding of grip in impossible conditions, the knowledge that he could beat anyone when rain fell, all of it was built on what he learned at Brazil 8 years earlier. Every legendary career has an origin story, the moment where potential becomes inevitable. Ayrton Senna had Monaco in 1984, Lewis Hamilton had Fuji in 2007, Michael Schumacher had Spa back in 1992, and then Max Verstappen, well, he had 2016 in Brazil. The drive where a teenager looked at impossible conditions and he saw opportunity. The performance that connected his junior career dominance to the championship machine that he would later become. Which raises the question that nobody was asking in 2016, but everyone knows the answer to right now. 16th to 3rd at just 19 years old in the rain against world champions. Brazil 2016 was the moment where Max Verstappen stopped being a promising kid and became inevitable. The drive that made Red Bull's gamble look like the smartest decision in F1 history. 8 years later, Max would return to Brazil and win from 17th. But that miracle was built on the foundation laid in 2016. Was this the most important drive in Max's career? The race that set everything in motion? Drop your thoughts down in the comments below, guys. And also, if you guys had fun today, then give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, turn on those bell notifications, guys. And I'm Ty. And I will catch you on the next one.